Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. Today I'm going to go over the three cards. These are arena based because these cards are not really typically seen and constructed, but they're cards that I think gives me a lot of free wins. They're really misused. People don't really know why they're good, and they are good. Some a little bit more than others, as I'll go over here in a second. But, because a lot of people go off a tier list, because people go a lot of on advice, like, is this card good? Do I pick this in arena? Usually people say yes, but when they actually play the card, they really fuck it up. So today I'm going to show you guys some of the ways that people use these cards really badly and how you can maybe do a little bit better. So the first card on the list is Deathlord. Now, Deathlord is a card I have in the past said is one of the worst cards ever in Arena. And the reason that is because if you just play him, maybe half the time, maybe 2/3 of the time, when he dies, he's going to summon just garbage, like a 3/2 creature or 2/2 creature, sometimes a battle cry creature like a crucial, like a big game hunter, It's easy to kill and you're not going to get your stuff big game huntered anymore. But 1/3 of the time it just summons a really big creature you can't deal with and you basically lose the game because of it. And doing well in Arena is not like doing well in Constructed. You have to do better than like win just over half your games. Because if you win half your games in Arena, it's actually not so great, at least not by my standards. If I go 3-3 all the time in Arena, I would be a little bit unhappy, let's say. And this card helps you do that, helps you achieve a 3-3 win rate. So there's certain ways that you use this card that are actually pretty favorable. So one thing that changed in GVG is that a lot of minions are more aggressive, and this changed the Arena format to where a lot of people play more aggressive decks, so that means fewer big minions. So the odds changed, and that's why Deathlord is just statistically better these days. It's a card that you can actually play in Arena. I still try not to pick it, but it's really fine. Also, what's important to note is the spare part system that was introduced with GVG can affect this card and much of the others in a pretty negative way. For instance, a very popular answer to Deathlord in Arena is Crazed Alchemist, or the spare part that flips it in a very similar fashion as the battlecry of the Crazed Alchemist. So you have a 2-drop, they play a Deathlord, you Crazed Alchemist a Deathlord, you run your 2-drop into the Deathlord, you get a free creature, half the time you win the game, and the other half of the time you're ahead. So it's bad. It's really bad. So there are these type of answers, and most of the mistakes that I see with Deathlord involve people just playing him on curve. So, I'd be playing Priest, they'd just be like, oh, Deathlord, turn 3, bam, and I'm just looking at my hands like, man, I got a Shadow Word Pain, why would you ever play that? But as it so happens, that keeps happening. Don't play this card against nothing, because you're going to lose, you're going to get destroyed. So, that's one of the big things, but the way you really use this card, there are many classes out there that don't have a great answer to it. So if you play this against like a Warlock, he's going to have to run things into it. And because he's playing Warlock, he probably has an aggressive deck. It's similar style against most classes, in fact. So if it's a class that doesn't have a great answer and you really have nothing to play, you can play Deathlord in the early game. But Deathlord's strength mostly comes in the late game, and I'll explain that. So usually when you're in Arena, it's kind of like Constructed in the sense that you often win or lose 1, maybe 2 turns away. And Deathlord is a card that is really effective in the later stages of Arena. It's basically like gaining 8 health and doing some damage to some of the creatures your opponent might have. So the reason this is important is, like, let's say your opponent has a certain amount of life and you can kill him next turn with like Fireball or a Charger or something. That's when you play Deathlord, because even though it might bring out a fucking Ysera out of his deck, it doesn't actually matter because it's not going to affect the following turn. So that's when Deathlord is good, and it's a very situational card, and in Arena you have to be very careful with situational cards as a result. So that's kind of where we're at with this card. Don't play him against an open board, and you certainly don't play him if you're ahead. And this is kind of something that follows through all the 3 cards I'm going to mention today. So in Arena, it's important to know if you're winning or if you're losing, and roughly by how much. So for instance, if you're playing against like a Priest, and let's say you have a card of like 6 cards, and you have like 3 creatures, and they basically have nothing, playing a Deathlord is dumb. It's dumb because they might have a Shadow Word Pain on the few cards they have remaining, and they might suddenly get a huge creature, they suddenly might be able to win, which otherwise they had absolutely no chance in. So if you're really far ahead in a game, you don't play Deathlord because it creates a ridiculous variance that's introduced in the game that you really have no business introducing in the game because you're going to win anyway. So that's kind of the idea. And that also follows the next card I'm going to talk about here, Fel Reaver. So Fel Reaver is a card introduced in GVG. I did mention that it's pretty good, in fact. It's pretty good because usually you can close out the game before you drop all the cards through your deck. But again, it's a very similar situation as Deathlord. If it's turn 5 and really nobody's winning, nobody's losing, or anything like that, playing this card is often going to be kind of dumb. And this is for a few reasons. This is, one, he might just play a bunch of taunts, he might just play a bunch of spells. With GVG, we have the introduction of spare parts. He can get frozen. Frost Elemental is a pretty popular card in Arena, as it turns out. You know what happens when your Fel Reaver gets Frost Elemental? Yeah, bad things. You're going to lose your deck. So if you don't have a backup, if you don't have a silence for the following turn, if you don't have a strategy to kill your opponent in a very short amount of time, if you're not specifically playing this card to have like a 2-turn win condition, something like that, it is absolutely not worth it. You can choose to play Fel Reaver, however, if you're on the opposite end of that. Like if you're winning, yeah, you don't play it. But if you're losing and you really need just something to bring yourself back in the game, it's a big risk to play a card like this, but it might work. It might give you a quick win condition, or it might put too big of a body for your opponent to leave on the board, regardless of the discard feature. So that's really where we're at. Fel Reaver gets also punished by some of the weirder cards like Aldor Peacekeeper, which is pretty common in Paladin. I mean, it's a pretty good Paladin card as it turns out. It's pretty comparable muster for battle. So there are some strange combinations that really affect this card. But again, the most common mistake that I see out of all the cards that I'm going to mention here is basically playing Fel Reaver when the game is undecided. So nobody's winning, nobody's losing, it's just card, and then fucking Fel Reaver drops on the board. Now I'm like, wow, why would you play that? 3 turns later, they don't have a deck. This card is pretty good if you're very close to fatigue, if you have a silence, if you're really pushing for it, if you're playing really aggressive deck, if you're winning, and if you're really losing and you really need it. And that's pretty similar to Deathlord. Now the last card on the list here is Ventrico Mercenary. This is probably, over the course of Hearthstone, I think I've answered the question, what is your favorite card? This little dude, or not so little dude, the most. So Ventrico Mercenary is a very powerful card. It's a little bit less powerful now because, again, there's a lot more small minions, a lot more aggression in Arena. There are more stickier minions, so it's hard to really kill everything. And Ventrico's problem is when you play him, if you're really far behind on the board and all your opponent has are like small creatures, it's going to hurt you. And yeah, sometimes you have to play him because you have no other choice, but I see people playing this card when they do have another choice. So, if I have like 4 or 5 creatures and they play Ventrico, unless it's like a mage or something or someone that can threaten a board clear, I'm just going to kill him. If a priest plays Ventrico and I'm looking at my board and nothing dies to Holy Nova, I'm basically going to completely ignore Ventrico, go face, and win just about every single time. And Ventrico is also susceptible to the same weaknesses as Fel Reaver, which again are pretty popular in Arena, with the freezing effect, with the frost elementals, specifically with the peacekeeping effect. Man, that's a fun one. You try not to play Ventrico Mercenary against a Paladin until you basically test for a Peacekeeper. So you play something else that's pretty big. Ventrico has a few strengths, though. It's that, yeah, he's very efficient for mana. Some classes can't deal with him. Some classes play the slow game, for instance, Druid. Playing a Ventrico against Druid in the earliest possible stage in the game is basically going to win you the game, because Druids, most of the creatures in the deck are going to resemble Chillwind Yetis and Druid of the Claws, and you're basically going to kill 2 of them. And because it's Druid, they probably can't kill you too quickly in Arena, so they're going to have to trade, so you're going to get ridiculous value. So the card is suddenly really good. Now, Ventrico Mercenary is also a really big tempo play in the late stages of the game. When I mention in Arena, it's okay to have 5 drops, like a lot of them. Those 6 drops and plus, it's not okay. And the reason that is you can't play too many things in the same turn. But because Ventrico is 5 mana, you could do, like, if you're the Druid, you can do Druid of the Claw and then Ventrico. And it's kind of like too big of a push on the same turn. So It's really powerful in a lot of cases, but not in the case where you haven't tested for anything, not in the case where you're losing so badly but you have other options. And yeah, for most of these cards, it's good to have a backup. So Venture Coast suddenly pretty good, as are the other two if you have like a lot of silences in the deck, if you have a lot of taunt activators, that type of stuff. But really, at the end of the day, if you're a new arena player, if you're following tier lists, if these tier lists tell you to play these cards and you've never played them before, it might be a decent idea to go with the second choice. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed my review. I wanted to show you guys some of the clips, some of the fun things that I've encountered with a few of these cards, and well, these are cool ones. These are cool ones. On the flip side, for those that are pretty good at Arena, I think watching this video may give you guys some ideas of how you really punish some of these cards to really get some free wins off of noobs, and well, that's pretty satisfying. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Damn, I got some pretty good cards. I don't want to have any of these. True Silver's the worst. Venture Co's the best, because I'm going to Peacekeeper it. Oh my god. That'd be amazing if he gets Venture Co. Oh, please get Venture Co. Venture Co. Venture Co. Venture Co. Venture Co. Come on. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. Oh man. Okay. Best mind vision ever. No! We're not supposed to have that! Seriously, every priest has fucking Velens. Alright, 10-win Mage, what do we got? Yeah, we got some shitty cards here. We got the Chugga. We got the Murloc Tidehunter. Man, that card cannot be that good. I'll just drop it. We'll hope to get something better. Can I keep Arcane Intellect? My problem in these last few games was just running out of cards. And usually the higher you go in terms of wins, the slower the Mage decks get. I'm gonna keep it. That might be a mistake, but we'll see. Okay. A bit of a slow start, but I'd expect the same from him.
Someday I'll be just like you.
The main problem that we have is that we don't actually have a creature to play. We're playing reactionary against another mage, which is really bad. I might just get totally rolled here. Whoa, that seems like a shitty play. This card is basically no threat right now. If I play this, I like ruin my 4th turn. Fuck that. We're just gonna go Arcane Intellect. Okay. Probably have to Fireball whatever he plays here. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's greed it up. Wow! Wow! Holy shit! Oh my god! What the fuck was that? Alright. We are doing great right now. The main issue is that he might have a silence. But if he doesn't have a silence, this is going to turn out amazingly well. Miller time, boys. Miller time. Dude, that was Fireball, Pyroblast, Flame Strike on the first mill. Apprentice, Sorcerer's Apprentice. Like, holy shit, dude. There goes another Water Elemental. Turns out Frost Elemental's pretty decent. Flame Strike. Okay. One card left. Fel Reaver is good, guys. You. Damn. That's actually pretty bad. And he should have attacked first so his creature doesn't get frozen. Oh, that's weird. Okay, we just have to try to like turtle up as fast as possible here. I really need to ping. Drake Arcane Explosion does what? Nothing. The tank doesn't reduce the 3 damage. Okay. Duplicate's fine. I literally only lose if both those cards are Fireball. Okay. Okay. Good. Good.